Trichinosis worm is one of nature's most revolting parasites. The things this tiny creature can do to a host body are better left unsaid. Luckily, these worms are rarely more than a few millimeters in length, but guess what? Now there's a subspecies that's 30 feet long. When Nora and her research team arrive at the deserted island, she was expecting a routine zoological expedition, but it didn't take her long to realize they're not alone. First, they found the dead bodies. Now members of her own team are disappearing, and when they return, they've changed. And is there any sane explanation for the lurid, perverse dreams she's been having? Indeed, there are other people on the island, but the real danger is something far worse.
Okay, I want to do another book review. I'm still reading The Ghost Walk by Brian Keene. I was looking through my books and I remembered Slither by Edward Lee. This is another book that I got in the book club that I was in, and when I got it, you know, the Slither movie had already come out, and I was looking at this and I was like, you know, I know it's not the, like, I know Slither wasn't based on the book, and then, like, I knew this wasn't a novelization of the movie, so I was looking at it and I was like, man, it's called Slither, it's got worms on it, you know, it kind of looks just like, I don't know if it was a ripoff of Slither or what, and can't remember when the Slither movie came out, but this has a publishing date of 2006, so I can't remember which came out first, but that's what made me like read it, because I had so many books. I have so many books already, but then I started accumulating books from the book club. So like I was, I'll read it and see how, because the Slither movie, it's really good. So I'll say how this compares to the movie. I'd never heard of Edward Lee before, but reading it, it was really good. Actually, I was surprised that it caught my attention. It is pretty gross, you know, horrific, nasty, sex. You know, it is kind of how Brian Keene is going back to like 80s horror movies and books with his stories. Edward Lee, I guess he's kind of doing the same thing. But the one thing that really caught my eye, it says, "The living legend of literary mayhem. Read him if you dare. Richard Lehman, author of The Cellar." If Richard Lehman actually said that, you know, I mean, I'll take his word for it. But, you know, you got to be careful with these quotes, and, you know, because like I mentioned before, I know they pay writers, and they'll pay anyone to say stuff like that. But if Richard Lehman really thought that, you know, I was like, man, it's the biggest endorsement for a book, for a horror novel that I could ever get, from Richard Lehman saying that, because that is actually what Richard Lehman is. He's a living legend of literary mayhem. But if he thinks Edward Lee is good, you know, I'll take Lehman's word for it. But I did have a lot of fun reading Slither. Just because, you know, it's pretty much a contained story. It takes place on the island with a limited number of characters. And then it has a surprise ending, which I read other reviews people didn't like. I liked it a lot. It you know, it did catch me off guard. I wasn't thinking it was going to end like it did. I guess if you read a lot of books, I read a lot, but maybe you would pick it up. But I try not to second guess books or movies when I read or review them. So I really like the ending. And the thing with the worms, you know, they were gross. It is really gory. But mostly, you know, it also says, like Fangoria says, Lee is the one who crosses the line. Cemetery Dan says the hardest of the hardcore horror writers. One of the genre's true originals. Also, Jack Ketchum says Edward Lee's writing is fast and mean as a chainsaw rev to full tilt boogie. Jack Ketchum is a great writer, and he really said that. But this was really good. This is what Edward looks like. So I really like Slither. So if you're looking for a horror novel, this one's really good to pass the time. It is. I mean, it's not the greatest, but I did enjoy reading it, and it kind of pulled me in. But I have a few of his other books, and I started reading one, and I didn't. I'm gonna finish it. I don't want to pass judgment on it yet, but it was kind of. It wasn't that good. You know, I like I said, I do need to finish reading it. I have a couple of his other novels, and I don't know what to really say about his other books because I haven't read them, but I do have them. But Slither was really good. I don't know, maybe it's one of his best books. I wouldn't. He wrote another novel called Backwoods. You know, it's just like Chainsaw, Hills Have Eyes. I would really like to get that one. Another thing, this is getting really expensive on Amazon. I think I saw one for like $15. Another one maybe it was like 10 or 12. So, and it was this version too. So, you know, it is getting expensive. I don't know why. Well, I think because Leisure is went out of business, so this is totally out of print. But looking through my books, this is one of the ones that I did enjoy reading. You know, as I've stated before, some books are really hard to get through. It's a real chore to read them, but I did have a lot of fun reading Slither. It was just, you know, it didn't try to be anything other than a nasty horror story, which I enjoyed a lot. And along with Brian Keene, this is one of the better books I've read in the last few years. And just, it's called Slither, you know. I would always look at it and say, man, I just got to read this book as soon as I can. And I did read it, and I did enjoy it. And I just wanted to pass that along. And we'll do more book reviews. Maybe I'll start doing the books that I did not enjoy. Because there's just so many not good horror novels out there. But Slither, it was enjoyable. And I just wanted to let you all know and review another book because I really like reviewing books, and this is one that I'm going to keep in my collection and put it towards the books that I have enjoyed, so I can, you know, when I look at the books, maybe I'll reread it again. But yeah, so if you like to read, you know, I'm totally endorse this one, and more book reviews to come, more movies, and I'll start doing music reviews too. So, you know, that's about it for this one. But Slither was a good read, and I recommend it. And I'll see you later.